Now here is a genre that keeps women up at night but gives men nightmares. It can involve cowboys, pirates, maybe a vampire or two. The topic of the day, romance. Hi, I'm Justine and this is Bookends. The book we're going to look at today is called His Wife for One Night by Molly O'Keefe. It's a Harlequin super romance, not just a romance. We're going to chat with Molly and also Bonnie starring with the Toronto romance writers to get a few other steamy recommendations. Here we go. I've got Molly O'Keefe here with me, author of His Wife for One Night, a Harlequin super romance. Okay, Molly, 5 seconds. What is the book about?
Best friends who are married. It's a marriage of convenience, but she wants a divorce because he's broken her heart too many times. They've never truly been married, but so she wants a divorce. He wants to try the tension, the drama.
Now, what made you such a romantic?
You know, I actually blame it on one weekend. My dad was a wrestling coach, and he was gone for this one weekend in the winter, and my mom rented An Officer and a Gentleman. The one, Scarlett O'Hara.
Oh, Gone with the Wind.
Gone with the Wind,
okay.
And
so
on the waterfront.
So it was like a movie.
Right. It changed. I was the right age. The hormones. I was the right age, and I just remember those movies.
How old were you?
I think I was 12.
Okay.
So it was sort of like a moment. That's what I blame it on.
So at what point did you say, you know what, I think I want to be a romance writer and actually pick up, you know, a pen and paper and start writing?
I was a sophomore in college, and it was actually kind of tragic. A friend of mine was killed by a drunk driver, and I was always going to be a writer. I thought I was going to go into speech writing, but this terrible accident happened, and my life was turned upside down, and I realized that the real, relief from my grief was this box of books that I had, these romance novels, and I thought, you know, I can be a part of that. I can do that too. So I decided then that I would give it a try, and it took probably 10 years to finally see it done, to finally get published.
So how realistic is this? Like, you know, these books that you read and the books that you write. I mean, you are married. Right?
Yeah. Are you asking me about my sex life?
Well, I mean, even just the romance. I mean, how realistic is it? Is your relationship with your husband anything like what you write about?
You know, I honestly believe that at the beginning of that relationship, you know, those sparks. I mean, obviously, my husband and I dated long distance. There was some drama, but it wasn't like, you know, we were married and he left me and I was heartbroken. But I do think that the core, what makes these books so exciting, is that the core of that feeling, that drama, is the same as real life. Granted, you know, I've never been kidnapped by bad guys, and I've never had to be saved by a prince. All of those things.
Or a pirate.
Or a pirate. Oddly enough, never a pirate. But
that would be nice.
It would. I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind it. I actually like the cowboys. I will say the cowboys do it for me.
Yeah, cowboy.
Yeah.
Lots of cowboys in romance.
Well, it's one of they're iconic, right? It's a pretty safe fantasy.
Behind us is an entire wall of these romance novels, and that's not all of them, and you've written several. When you're writing them, how do you keep your plots fresh and unique? I mean, you don't always want to be using cowboys and pirates. How do you keep it fresh?
That's a great question, and I know every writer sort of struggles with that, because, you know, the interesting magic about a romance novel is that you know the ending. You know it's going to be a happily ever after. So you've got to work backwards from that and trying to make it fresh and interesting and exciting, and part of it's your voice, part of it's how the writer tells the story. You know, everybody feels, you know, I'm sure you have a favorite author, and it feels like that author is writing right to you. So, you know, part of it's the voice, and part of it is just trying to reverse what the reader is thinking. I feel like romance readers are actually some of the smartest readers out there, because they read voraciously across, I mean, it's proven, they read across every genre. And so trying to, I don't know, trick, but convince a romance reader that you're going to go someplace else is, you know.
So not always being predictable.
Not always being
But
predictable.
is that hard to do? I mean, to try to be not predictable when there are so many different plots out there?
It is hard. It is hard. And I think that the criticism that the genre sometimes gets is that it is predictable.
Now, you mentioned criticism of the genre. You know, there are people out there who call it not legitimate fiction, trash fiction even, and you know, like even people who are great fans of romance sometimes are, I would say, almost embarrassed to read it in public.
Yeah.
I mean, as an author, because you are an author of legitimate fiction, do you see that stereotype often? I do. Yeah, you know, I'm actually from a small town in the States, and you feel it. You feel that sort of stereotype more in the city, as if it's not legitimate. And I do have. I mean, I have responses to that, right? One, you know, my first response is, you know, what is wrong with happy? You know, why do we have to defend fiction that is escapist, right? I mean, it seems mean-spirited to do that. I don't understand. And the second reaction is that I think it is often still easy to denigrate books that are for women and by women. It's easy to sort of say, well, it's those kinds of books. And then third, I do think because there are so many published, Harlequin publishes 64, at least 64 a month. I can't remember what the... A lot. Yeah, they publish so many a month that there can be some that are predictable. And I think that, you know, what's exciting about some of the stuff that you're doing is, and what some of the, you know, other websites and blogs out there are doing, is that they're trying to help you find the really, really good romantic fiction out there. Because I will say, without a shadow of a doubt, that a good romance, you know, and I've got a couple on my keeper shelf, they're the best books I've ever read. They're the best books. They make you feel great and smart. And, you know, a good writer is a good writer. It's a great escape. Molly, thank you so much for your time today.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Now I've got Bonnie Starring here with me. She's with the Toronto Romance Writers here in the city. So Bonnie, I mean, romance has been around for ages and ages and years.
Forever.
Is it still as popular as it always has been, or is it even hotter than hot these days?
You know, I think it's remained the same through the years, just because as romance writers get older, they I started reading romance, stealing my grandma's books. And like sneaking them under the covers and reading them and falling in love all over again. And just with the economy being bad, romance sales were still up. People weren't going to movies, they weren't going out for dinner, but they were buying their romance novels. So I think romance is here to stay.
When we were actually trying to find a place to shoot for this interview, I mean, you know, we couldn't find a single independent bookstore in Toronto that has a romance section. Right? I mean, why is that happening within the industry itself? And does that affect sales or just the way people view romance?
It's a really hard question to answer, because even with the bookstores that have romance sections, they're usually tucked in the back, in the corner, and it's almost like this hidden, dirty little secret, this guilty pleasure. And that really bugs me, because I'll sit on a subway and I'll read a romance novel. Now, of course, if it's a bare naked man on the cover, it's like,
look at that chest.
Then, you know, I might discreetly place my hand somewhere. But I think people should celebrate it. I mean, the books are about love. They're about escape. They're happy endings. Why not celebrate that? You can sit there and listen to the Beatles and Led Zeppelin singing about a whole lot of love. Why can't you pick up a book and read about love?
Bonnie, you have a few other recommendations here within the genre.
Yeah.
Let's start with the first one here.
Okay.
The Demon in Me.
Me, by Michelle Rowan. Now, if you like your heroes tall, dark, and humorous, oh my God. So Eden Riley, through a freaky accident, gets possessed by Derek, a demon, who doesn't have a body, so he lives within Eden. And as the book progresses, Eden's trying to get Derek out. I mean, you're possessed by a demon, like, get out. But she gets to know Derek. And it's like, oh, well, if I get rid of him, I'll lose him forever. And then, just the intertwangles, and they just get so... it's so much fun. Oh my God. See, I can't even speak. I'm so excited about the book.
And I'm sure obviously some steamy scenes as well.
Oh, steamy scenes. Now
you describe this as like a subgenre within romance?
Yeah, there's paranormal romance within romance. So that's when you're getting into your vampires, your shapeshifters, your ghosts, your werewolves, your, you name it, and it's popping out of there. Now, it's kind of like with Twilight, with Stephanie Meyer. It's just people like the unusual. And with paranormal romance, that's just makes it even more fun.
No, okay, so this one here is contemporary romance?
Yeah, Something About You is a contemporary romance, and with Julie James, she just puts a humorous twist on everything. Because in this book, you've got Cameron, who's a assistant U.S. attorney, and you've got Jack, an FBI agent. And Cameron she might or might not have wrecked his career 3 years ago. I won't say, but they're forced together again when she's in protective custody, and Jack has to be her protector. And there's this scene where the FBI have to break into a bachelorette party. Oh my God, it's just hilarious. The seduction of his wife. This is historical, and this is scandalously hot historical. Oh my God, Tiffany Clare. Oh, okay.
And she's also a Toronto writer.
She's also a Toronto romance writer, and so is Michelle Rowan. And what Tiffany Clare has done is you have Richard and Emma, who married 12 years ago, and then he just up and left. 12 years, he's gone. They accidentally meet up by chance. And Richard discovers that he still kind of likes her. But Emma's like, It's like, you may get into my bed, but you cannot get into my heart. And so Richard then has to seduce his wife all over again. And it's just flaming, like your fingertips burn when you're turning the pages. It's just hot.
I'm getting hot. Bonnie, thank you so much for meeting with us today and giving us these recommendations. You can find all of the info on these books on our website, bookendstv.com.